All right, so we're restarting. We're reeling from the news that I was born with and still have. I didn't get a replacement, but I was born with a smooth brain. We found that out from the doctor.
The transplant wasn't your body rejected the brain that they tried to give you,
With
and we
faults.
went back to the original brain.
Yes. So it
smooth
turns
brain.
out that when I got a skull fracture when I was 6, and when I got an MRI, the doctor went, "Oh, this guy doesn't have this 6-year-old.
This motherfucker doesn't
Yeah.
have any wrinkles in his brain."
My neurologist was like a mafia goon. This guy,
Fucking kid's got a smooth brain.
yeah, he said he didn't have any sulci, and so that's why we're
His
here.
brain's like a ball of mozzarella.
Yeah, it literally looked like a piece of cheese, just a big hunk of cheese.
It's got to be so satisfying to look at. It's got to look like just
Yeah.
a nice little cashew inside your head.
Oh, totally. Yeah,
Yeah.
you want to just boil it and slice it up and put it over a nice arugula
A
salad.
nice dumpling of a brain.
Yeah,
That's so cool. But I think there's something to that where there's actually a procedure that people have done where they have little fractures put in their skull. Like there's people drill into the skull and allow it to expand, and it like gives your brain more room to like expand and grow. So you might have just gotten one of those for free when you bonked yourself.
Are you telling me when I bonked my head, I went full Pinky in the Brain mode?
Yeah.
I went full swollen head. That's what happened to me.
Yeah,
and
when
now-
some Wile E. Coyote related mishap happened,
Dude,
you
that's crazy.
You slammed into a tunnel that was painted onto a wall.
Yeah. My near-death experience, I ended up being smarter. But I looked
How
this
did
up.
it happen?
I
What-
slipped in a wave pool,
Oh,
which I've always said is one of the most white trash ways of almost dying.
you had a white trash cowabunga.
Yeah, I slipped in a wave pool. Obviously, the shallow part,
Yeah,
not near the wave. Although it
our
feels
big
like
asses, we could crack our heads on the deep end of any pool.
I could go in where they generate the wave. Have you been in a wave pool?
I don't think so.
Are you
I hear
familiar with what
nothing
it
but
is?
I'm familiar. I hear nothing but horror stories.
Yeah, I was
this is
gonna
one of the milder horror stories I've heard about a wave pool.
Yeah, because
They're death
usually
traps.
they're death traps. Usually, when people have an accident in the wave pool, it's in the like wave generating thing. Like,
Right.
I mean, it's not funny, but unfortunately, kids like get stuck in the wave thing. That
Yeah.
does happen. I did things a little differently at the Mandalay Bay, which, by the way, not the worst thing to happen at the Mandalay Bay.
What
folks.
happens in Vegas stays in Vegas,
That's right. Yes, I mean,
including Luke's brain wrinkles.
yeah, my brain wrinkles. Apparently, I went to Vegas and put it all on Black 35 and lost, and they took my brain wrinkles.
You put it all on Aqua, is what you did. You wagered your brain in the wave pool,
yeah, but
and
okay,
you
so
lost.
I looked this up, and if you're born without sulci, which is the brain wrinkles, you're not supposed to live past 10.
Holy shit.
So am I on borrowed time is the question. I mean, this is like I found this out like a couple hours ago.
Yeah.
So we're
That
really,
recent.
yeah.
Holy hell.
I didn't know I wasn't like because I got this MRI 26 years ago, 25 years ago. So at the time, I'm in kindergarten or whatever. I wasn't like, doctor, tell me,
Give it to me straight.
give it to me straight, doc. I was like,
I want to live it up for these next second and third grade.
yeah, exactly. I just remember being in a CAT scan machine and peeing myself.
Sure.
And because I was so scared, and I remember the guy who was running this is not how I thought the podcast would be. The guy who was running the the machine. He must be a doctor, radiologist.
I would assume.
He came in. And he kept going. Well,
It's
I
a
guess
PA.
yeah, he's got a little headset. Tray
Yeah,
of
what's that?
bagels.
Yeah, no, we've got Luke. Okay, throw the main switch.
Big Frankenstein switch.
Luke, you're needed in the tube.
Yeah. You're
Is
on
it
in
a
five.
tube, the CAT scan, like an
It's a
MRI?
tube.
Yeah, it's one
It's
of
a
the.
tube.
It's a tube procedure, but no magnets.
I think it might be magnets.
It's magnets.
I'm not exactly sure, although I know you're not supposed to get them all the time. But
Yeah.
look, I got one, and basically the guy, I kept peeing myself.
Sure.
And this is sad. And the guy, I was severely concussed, and the guy kept coming in and going, I guess we're going to have to start from scratch. And I didn't know what that meant. I'm 6 years old.
We're
I've
gonna
never
have
heard
to
that expression.
scratch this boy.
Yeah, exactly. And so I have whenever someone says start from scratch, I have like a
A sense
PTSD
memory.
sense memory where
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, fuck. And I didn't know at the time. I think at the time I must have been like, excuse me, sir, what does that mean?
Yeah.
What does start from scratch mean?
That's a traumatic one. I think I have. Nobody likes Velcro, but I think I have
Yeah.
a little bit more of like a sense memory tied to Velcro because I split my forehead when I was like 2 or 3,
Ooh.
and they brought me in for stitches. And with a little kid, a lot of times they strap them down so they can do the stitches.
Like
and they
you're-
did that with me.
Like
and they
one
were
flew over the cuckoo's nest.
Yeah, yeah. They peeled my eyes open so I could watch. the whole thing. I don't think that's standard procedure.
No, not at all.
I don't think there's a Clockwork Orange element that's supposed to be
They
there,
gave you
but-
the mental hospital belt bed for getting stitches.
And I'm like, was I being an asshole about my injured head? But yeah, I forgot that you had a concussion while that was going on. So you're
Yeah.
like woozy and nauseous and you're just in the tube.
I didn't know what was going on. I remember when you're concussed, I don't know if this is true when you like have a concussion as an adult, but I remember the next week I went to see Baby Geniuses with my family. Remember this movie, Baby Geniuses? Baby Geniuses was kind of taking it took the Look Who's Talking model. Wasn't there a talking baby in Look
There
Who's
was
Talking?
Look Who's Talking was the talking baby,
Right.
and then Baby Geniuses was like, what if they could walk around and do stuff?
And all of them were talking.
Yeah.
And the adults were actually finally listening. The adults were finally taking the time to listen.
They opened a dialogue. For millennia, there's been this conflict between babies and
Right,
adults.
yeah.
And finally, they
The
can come to the
babies-
table.
Yes, it's their time to talk. And so anyways, I'm in Baby Geniuses, and I threw up because
Yeah.
I had like a salt imbalance or something.
Sure.
Because of the concussion. Anyway, this is Luke Mones Explained, everybody. My guest is JP McDade, longest intro of all time.
He got the salt knocked out of him in a wave pool, gave him a concussion, had a CAT scan.
Yeah, it's kind of a long.
There's a lot of backstory.
That was crazy. That's like the beginning of a Simpsons episode. You
Yeah.
know how they always start in like a weird place to get to the
Right,
story.
to introduce the A plot that has nothing to do with what's really going on.
I always think start with just give me what's going on.
Yeah. Once
Home-
upon a time.
Right. Homer owns a pretzel stand. Let's start there. We don't
Yeah.
need to begin with Homer gets kicked in the head by a horse or something.
Yeah.
You know, they always start with that.
By all means, writers of The Simpsons, kick Homer in the head with a horse
Yeah.
whenever you get
Which
the
they've probably done
opportunity,
that. I mean, there've been a couple thousand episodes. He's
Yeah.
probably been kicked in the head.
He should absolutely be dead by now.
Yeah. Well, he's actually isn't he like 80? That's what they don't.
There's like one episode where it's revealed that he's sneakily 80.
Yeah.
Grandpa Simpson is like 140.
Yeah, Grandpa Simpson is like that guy in India who's 200 years old and has really long fingernails.
Yeah.
I'm mixing up a couple of Indian Guinness Book World Record holders.
They say that there's a guy in India who is like 700 years old. And
Right.
he's like a mystic, and you go see him on a mountain, and I forget his name. It's like Baba something.
Yes.
He's a big deal over there in India.
Can I say?
If you're out there, come on the podcast.
yeah, come on.
Let's
There's
see
literally a
what's
third
going
chair.
on.
It's available for you. I
Yeah,
hope I'm
Brendan
not-
Sagalow canceled. So if there's room for the 700-year-old Indian man,
Yeah, I hope I'm not
Please join us.
overgeneralizing, but I'd mix him up with the. First of all, I would say that. Correct me if I'm wrong. I feel like there's a couple of those guys.
there might be. Yeah, who's to say they're limited to one subcontinent?
And
There's a guy in Ohio.
yeah, and the curly fingernails is also part of it.
I think that's a different guy.
That's a different
From
guy.
what I understand.
Please excuse me. Now
I've
is
only
time for
seen
me
the
to listen.
700-year-old man in drawings, so
Right.
I can't confirm. But the guy with the fingernails is definitely real,
He's real.
like down to the floor.
Yeah, down to the floor.
Like he's holding those puppies up in a deltoid raise for his entire life,
totally. And
or
I-
just like going like this and balancing them.
yeah, but they're curly.
Yeah,
I've never seen curl. Like I've seen like sometimes like in New York on the subway, you'll see once in a while you'll see a guy with like really long nails. It's
Yeah.
never a lady. It's always a guy
Yes.
with really long, like absurdly long nails.
or like a long toenail sticking out of
Long
the hole in
toenail.
the shoe.
I remember I was obsessed on this was like 9 years ago. I was on the subway and I was just like I was sober, but I was just entranced. This guy had a giant thumb.
Yeah, just
Like,
a mega
like
thumb.
the biggest thumb you've ever seen. Like he had this is a man who clearly was born like I'm born with a deformity. I don't have any brain wrinkles, but this
Yeah.
man was born with a big thumb.
Well, you have an exogenous one. You have the secondhand deformity. You weren't born with that. You lost. You had
think so?
wrinkles and lost them. I think.
You
when
think I
the
got
when the
shaken?
skull. Okay. So I misunderstood your original story. I thought the skull fracture caused the brain to develop in such a way that it doesn't have
No,
wrinkles.
no, no.
anymore.
When I got the skull fracture, I got an MRI for the first time and they went, "Oh
Oh.
shit, this kid doesn't have any brain wrinkles."
Yeah, I guess they don't scan babies coming out.
No, I mean,
They don't
I would
throw 'em in
love
the
to get an
scanner.
MRI. Like, there's a whole movement now of people should get full body scans all the time. You should
Yeah.
check for stuff, and I think the very rich do that.
People
But
have to have them in their house. The
MRI
like,
machine?
Like billionaires have to. There's
Well,
got to be some
100%.
billionaires who have like CAT scans and MRIs. Just get them every 6 months.
Totally. Well, step one is the concierge doctor.
Yeah.
Step two is like the people who bring the whole hospital into their house, and then
Yeah.
the final evolution of that is like CAT scan machine, adrenochrome.
Yeah. Babe, just fetuses shipped directly to you to like crack open like eggs.
Yeah, exactly. Speaking of adrenochrome, you wrote for the Tom Brady roast.
The man's full of it, folks.
Yeah.
He's loaded with this stuff.
How was that?
The NFL can't test for adrenochrome.
That's
so
true. That's true.
It's just baby juice.
How was it?
It was a lot of fun. It was a good time. A live broadcast roast in an arena.
Yeah.
3 hours long.
Yeah.
I was like, this is going to be a disaster.
Yeah.
There's no way that this is going to work. And it went off. I wouldn't say it went off without a hitch, but it was.
There were hitches.
It worked. There were some hitches in there.
Yeah.
Oh boy, were there some hitches? But
Yeah.
it was a blast. Just
Is the idea? Do you think like that when there was a Comedy Central roast back in the day that it was 3 hours and they edited it down to an hour?
every roast ever has been an achievement in editing.
Right.
That's what a roast, the final product is. It's an
This
edit.
was not.
And I was like, how is this going to work if it's just the whole thing?
Right.
It's going to be all the vamping from Kevin Hart in between
Right.
between people. It's going to be all of Gronk's set.
Yeah, totally.
How is this going to work?
They
But
they didn't
they carried it
cut
off.
anything because usually I would like sometimes you would know better than me, but like don't they like cut whole bits?
They usually, like I recently just saw the full version of Anthony Jeselnik's set from the Donald Trump roast, and for years
wow.
I'd seen like we all saw it live, and like I'd seen it again.
Right.
It was like a 6-minute thing, but there were like 5 or 6 jokes that got cut.
Oh, really?
And they were good.
Yeah.
But
Just for time.
Yeah, just for time because it becomes unmanageable. But they worked it. I mean, crazy shit happened on this roast last night.
Yeah.
It was, I mean, Bert Kreischer in the middle of Sam Jay's set. I'm not trying to snitch on the man. I'm going to say
Yeah.
he pulled out a bag of, let's
Something.
call it Splenda. And he just like shook it in the camera for like.
Did that make it on?
I don't know if it made it on because I was there. I just saw it on the monitors, but like they show him tight on the monitor. And Sam Jay makes some joke about, oh, fat, funny comics used to do cocaine or something. He just like pulled out a little white bag. I don't know what the
Could have been
substance was.
Splenda.
I didn't
Yeah.
test it.
It may have been. Yeah.
I didn't do one of these.
Yeah. You go in.
Pure
excuse me.
Colombian.
Yeah. We need to test with fent strips.
Yeah.
Yeah. But dude, that's crazy. Did you have what was your favorite joke that didn't get on?
I was told that it got cut at like the last round. I wrote for Nikki Glazer, and she was like running around town with Brian Frangie, like running sets and like
Love
seeing
Frangie.
what jokes were. We love Frangie.
We love Frangie.
Frangie's very good friend of the time. But I said Rob Gronkowski always gave 110% because Rob Gronkowski does not know math. And there was another one that was like Julian Edelman was one of the hardest working players in the NFL. He worked harder than Gronk's autocorrect. Gronk was just the lightning rod for this
Yeah.
entire production.
I mean,
but
how do you not just go full bore at him? I mean,
Yeah.
he could be the next. I guess he's not big enough to be the full target of a roast. Well, maybe he is.
a roast, sure, but not a roast of like that magnitude.
Netflix
the
is really
Gronk roast would probably
pushing
not
the
fill.
live
Yeah.
live stuff. They did the live
The Mulaney thing was
which
great.
they're doing I think every night,
6
nights?
episodes, yeah.
which is wild. I think starting tonight.
It started already, but the second episode I think
Right.
is tonight.
Tonight, yeah.
As of press time.
Yeah, exactly. This is being recorded in 2022.
This is gonna.
Yeah, this
We're-
is coming out.
We're really prescient about a lot of stuff that's gonna
Yeah,
happen in
totally.
2024.
Yeah, exactly.
We got our fingers on the pulse.
I've been able to really nail it with the rollout of these episodes.
Yeah. Well, the
People
Tom
are
Brady roast
shocked.
was supposed to happen in 2022, but he
Oh, really?
unretired. So he's like, I'm going to play football again.
Shit.
They just did it. They ran it back.
That's crazy.
But
Were there people in the audience who were like super? I feel like I'm doing full TMZ.
Get in there.
TMZ Luke. Were there like crazy people in the audience where it was like
Yeah.
Obama there?
I smelled a cigarette at one point, and then I looked over like 60 feet or so, and there's Dave Chappelle
Oh, cool.
ripping a
Okay.
heater in the middle of the Kia Forum.
In the Forum?
Again, not to snitch. It might have been an herbal sub. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to get the man arrested
Yeah.
for cigarettes.
They're the cigarettes that you smoke in a movie, which I never understood that.
It's just woo. Apparently, they taste and smell really bad.
Really, the herbal cigarettes?
Yeah, they're worse than regular cigs.
That's so weird. Yeah, because isn't it still bad for you breathing it in, or is it just
I
less?
would imagine. I feel like any
Yeah.
kind of smoke you breathe in is bad for you.
And that's what the podcast is all about.
What-
Please don't smoke.
What stuff can you inhale and what can't you inhale? That's what we're trying to get to the bottom of. here.
Yeah, you a vape guy?
No.
No substances.
No substances. I'll occasionally get talked into some kind of THC product, and
I
like
see.
every now and then, no cops,
No
mushrooms.
Oh, wow.
Mushrooms are a good one.
You know, a lot of people are doing Molly these days.
Yeah, but now people are trying to find like a therapeutic angle for Molly,
Right.
where it's like this is helping my brain. Maybe it does. I don't know.
I'm
But
sure it helps people. Okay, I'm sure ketamine and Molly
absolutely.
help people, but I think there's a line that you cross
Yeah.
where you're like, well, you're just interested in ketamine.
Yeah.
You have a real. You're like, my interest in ketamine is purely clinical. It's like it seems like you just like getting fucked up on ketamine.
If you find yourself opening a Molly pill, like
Right.
in the upstairs room at the Comedy Store, you might just like drugs.
You might just like drugs.
No,
exactly.
this is part of my therapy. This is what I do. Like you don't need to play it off all scientific for us.
I would like to try like a supervised drug thing before I die.
Sure.
You know what I mean? Like some kind of thing where not a shaman necessarily, but maybe like a
No
some
ayahuasca.
kind of doctor. I don't know. Yeah. Did you notice that? I think in one of the Kendrick Drake battles, Kendrick suggested. First of all, he called Drake like a sex offender, but then he was like, perhaps you should try ayahuasca. Did you notice that?
It's the only beef where someone offered solutions.
But now he's like, perhaps ayahuasca would do you better. I think he's literally like, therapy is a nice start. I think that's literally what he says. It's been really interesting to. Have you been following this?
A little like tangentially, I listened to a couple of tracks. Just Kendrick just being like, "You should try BetterHelp.com."
And then Drake kind of getting ahead of it by being like, I know you're going to talk about Millie Bobby Brown.
Yeah.
But let's just I'll say it first. So
Yeah.
when you say it, it'll sting less. But I don't know. What I always feel with rap battles and beefs, and frankly, sometimes you just want people to be nicer to each other.
Yeah.
You know?
Sometimes you want the boys to hang out.
Why couldn't you just write some nice stuff for Tom Brady? Why couldn't you just compliment Tom Brady?
Make the whole set the sincere part at the end.
Yeah.
Just that might work if you could carry it off long enough. Just like, I want to say, just Don Rickles from the bottom of my heart.
Yes,
I wish you health. I wish you good life. I wish you
Tommy Mack and I used to do a thing at our show. Do you remember that? I feel like I must have said this to you, where it's just our whole we want to do a whole set that's just the late in life Don Rickles end singing sincere thing.
Yeah.
You know, where he just goes up and
did it my way.
he's like sitting in a chair going, "We had some laughs.
Yeah.
I always loved you," and everyone's like crying. But
Yeah.
it's like he really got into that.
Couple guys in their late 20s doing that. It's like,
Yeah, at a
what do
bar.
these guys think they've accomplished that they can do send-offs like this?
Also, like Don Rickles, even in his 90s when he was doing that, before he brought out the sincere orchestra, he
Yeah.
was like roasting people in the audience.
He was fucking people up. It was great.
at that show, and then he would be like,
Jerry Seinfeld. I never liked you. Just falling over, but still like headshotting people with like.
yeah.
You talk to Robert De Niro, it's like being alone.
He was definitely. I don't know if I'm sure you remember this. You like Rickles. He
Yeah.
had an AARP sponsored YouTube show. You remember that?
He did. Yeah, he had that like getting coffee with Don Rickles thing where he's just like gradually leaning over farther and
Yes.
farther in the chair.
Impossibly famous people at like a restaurant in Hollywood.
It's like Steven Spielberg and Phil Jackson. He's just like cooking their asses.
Yeah, it's like these guys don't. I'm pretty sure there was an episode where he has De Niro and Scorsese, and
Yeah.
they're each on to his side, and they're not mic'd, and he's just like,
It's all Don.
You're not a great looking guy, Bob. You're not a great looking guy.
You got to do something about the eyebrows. Marty, your eyebrows are out of control.
And Martin Scorsese's just like,
The guy looks like he's in storage. He would say something that like what you didn't quite get the reference, but he carried
Totally.
it off.
Totally.
Enough of like this guy. Look at this guy. He knows how to make up a train.
Don't you feel like that was a lot of roasts and frankly jokes from like kind of before 1990?
Oh yeah.
People don't realize we're sitting down. We're a couple of tall boys.
Couple of
we
big
need to
lads.
bring it up. Would you be willing to get the surgery,
The shin reduction.
The shin reduction.
Yeah.
People are doing. I didn't realize how big the shin
modification
the
is
increase is. People are really
Yeah.
doing that.
which seems crazy to me because you're just going to have weird proportions. Then.
It's very painful, apparently.
Yeah.
The increase of the shin bone, and then also people are doing there's a big thing of you and I we have good heads of hair, and I think sometimes
hanging in
men
there.
They get defensive
Oh,
around
yeah.
guys like us. Yeah, is this happening to you now? This is happening to me a lot. Yeah, we're in our 30s. You have guys in their late 30s, early 40s. They go, great head of hair. You know what I mean?
I just quit this day job that I worked at for 2 years. It was like it serviced like a blue collar trade. I was selling equipment to like security system installers.
Okay.
Showbiz, the height of showbiz.
Yes, exactly.
But one of the customers was this Jamaican dude who was hilarious. He would come in and he would just break our balls all the time. I'd be like, look at PJ. He would just always call me PJ, like disrespectful. He knew my name was JP. He's like,
That's
PJ.
funny.
Yeah, he just PJ Batiman, just calling us like gay slurs in Jamaican. And just like, hey Bevan.
Yeah.
And
Bevan.
yeah,
Great name.
he rocks. And he's interesting guy. I'll expand more
They
on
would
that.
say he's dead.
But no, he's not dead. I hope he's still with us. But he would make fun of me. He'd be like, look at that. Oh, he thinks he's better than us with his thick head of hair. thick head of hair like a jungle. Hey, you call me Fonzie.
Wow.
I just have I don't gel my hair or anything. You just call
Yeah.
me Fonzie. But you ever have this experience where you have a character in your life who you think is quirky, and then you find out that they're just fucking crazy?
Of course. Yeah.
Like this guy, he would always break balls.
Yeah.
But then one time, like, some other customer did something that he didn't like. Like, he got, I don't know, whatever the inciting incident was, like, they got into it, and he was, like, not yelling at him, but, like, threatening him. And he's
Totally.
like, I'll kill you. He's like, I'll fuck you in the ass with some, like, he started to fuck him with some kind of equipment. He's like, I'll kill you, motherfucker. And then he's like,
In front of you?
yeah, in front of everyone in the store.
jeez.
And he's just like, I'll make you walk up and down the avenue in a dress.
Whoa.
And then he went out into the parking lot and he broke off a piece of like a pallet,
Oh.
like a piece of wood off of
Oh.
the pallet. And he was like stalking around the parking lot, waiting for the guy to come out. And I was like,
Yeah.
oh, this guy is not playing.
Totally. This
He's
is a
just a
crazy
nut.
guy. Yeah, I mean, I'm trying to think. I feel like in comedy sometimes we occasionally encounter someone who is just
Oh, yeah.
I mean, we're blessed in the sense that we've been around a lot of people who have committed heinous crimes.
Grade A weirdos of
Totally.
a violent sort.
100%. I
Oh.
mean, I've seen people have insane outbursts.
Yeah.
But because I think comedy, especially in a lower rung, attracts. You know what I think is a good sign of success is that you look around and you go, I have not had an experience where in a comedy venue where I've feared for my life in a long time. You know what I mean?
That's- that incredibly low bar, it is a comforting feeling. It's like, all right, I haven't had the hairs on the back of my neck stand up because I didn't know how a situation was going to play out.
100%. Like, basically, first 3 or 4 years of comedy, correct me if I'm wrong, but we had probably every other month you had a situation where you felt like you were in a bank robbery. Like that kind of situation where you're like, oh my God, what is going to happen?
What is it, like the autonomic nervous system, where the
Totally.
fight or flight starts to kick in.
Fight or flight's
you're like,
kicking in. We're not making memories anymore.
No,
Like,
no.
People are just, either
Blacking
they're on
out.
stage or they're like, in the audience and they're just doing something crazy.
Yeah.
And, I haven't had my life threatened in a long time.
Yeah, and
One
getting your
person.
life threatened in a setting where there are no authority figures. It's all just
Exactly.
Lord of the Flies. It's all kids in a basement at
Totally.
an open mic trying to run a self-sustaining thing. It's like if one radical actor is in there just freaking out, all bets are off.
Completely. I had a
Anything can
thing
happen.
at what was that place called? It doesn't matter.
The one of the places that comes to mind, obviously the Creek, but then like
Yes.
Cake Shop also comes
Cake
to
shop.
mind.
I never really went there, but I've heard horror stories.
Someone in a band threatened me because I was like going back and forth with them on stage.
Yeah.
I was drunk. It became nothing, but it
Drinking
was like,
JP, classic.
oh yeah, that's a deep throwback. That's
I remember that.
yeah, that not a lot of people do.
Yeah. I'm gonna expose you. No.
Yeah.
I remember when you fought that guy at Cake Shop. No, this was at Ange Noir in
Okay, yeah.
Bushwick. I did a show there, and I think I've talked about it on this podcast before, but it's called The Big Slap.
Pre Will Smith.
Pre Will Smith. This was
There
the preeminent slap in comedy.
Yeah.
This was like 2017 or something. Doing a show, guy comes in fully having he's just an audience member, fully having a psychotic break.
Yeah.
Fully runs in, starts screaming that I'm on stage. He starts screaming. I think he was saying he was gonna bite my dick off.
Oh shit.
And he picked up a glass, not a cup, like a glass, and threw
Like
it
a
at
whiskey
me.
glass.
a whiskey glass and then threw another one back at the audience. He was like right in front of the stage. Then the owner of Ange Noir, who was this like big French guy, came in and just went,
No, no, no.
yeah, he sacre blued him in the face, and he literally just. I think he basically knocked the guy out. Just the loudest smack you've ever heard.
Caught him on the ear and just like he went down.
And they like dragged him out, and then I guess he took all his clothes off in the street. So yeah, we hope he's doing well. He's actually a friend of the show now, and
yeah, he's going to be coming in a few minutes.
yeah.
He's just disrobing outside.
We're doing a Maury style reunion with me and the guy who slapped
reuniting the big slap.
But I haven't felt fear like that for a while.
Yeah, I had a dissociative experience with involving nudity. The second open mic I ever did.
Oh wow!
It was at No Fun Bar in the Lower East Side, which is now renamed.
God, No Fun Bar.
It was like a block over from Lucky Jack's.
Of course.
Yeah.
Wow, that is really bringing me back. I'm sorry. Go
yes,
ahead.
it was.
My life just flashed before my eyes.
No, talk about a sense memory. That's.
Whoa.
You're gonna remember that next time you're in a CAT scan. Like, oh, no
Pee
fun.
myself again.
Oh my God, there was a plywood box, and that was the stage. Just streams of piss.
My brain starts getting wrinkles. Yeah.
Whoa, he's showing record activity in the brain. His non-lobe is heating up. But No Fun Bar, it was like I had done my very first open mic there, and I went back the next week. Yeah. And the way the room is situated is it's pretty small, and it's like old nightclub style booths, like the leather bound booths or whatever, and you could fit like 6 people in there.
Yes, I remember. Yeah.
And I'm sitting in like the middle of one of those, and there's other open micers surrounding me. I can't get out.
Yeah.
This guy goes on stage. He was like a Coney Island freak act, I guess you would call it.
Sure.
Hammers a nail into his nose. He goes up on stage like he does the hammer into his nail. I call this the human blockhead, and I could still smell this guy to this day. And he hammers.
Was it the young guy, the white guy with the long brown hair, who was like a Union Square like guy?
No, I think he had short. No, I know who you're talking about, but no, it wasn't him. It was a different guy. Like he had like short blonde hair, if I remember.
Yeah.
And he does the thing. You hammer the nail in. You pull it out with the claw. Like, this next trick is called the human cockhead. Completely disrobes, fully nude, gets off the stage, walks into like the area, the floor like that is surrounded by these booths, does the same trick with a different part of his body. I think the title kind of gave it away.
Ooh.
And he just taps it on in there, taps a little nail in, and then hands. I'm looking at like the corner of the room more intently than I've ever looked at anything in my life. I'm just like, I'm not here. Hands the hammer to a girl who's sitting like 2 people down from me, and she turns it over and is like, "You pull it out," and he's like,
puts
the claw on the nail.
I think that's a sex crime.
100% illegal. No part of this was legal. And I was like, and I continued to do open mics for another.
It is so funny that is the first. That is the first week. Is you're like, is this what this is?
All right, then. I guess I have to just accept that.
Yeah. Is this showbiz?
Yeah. This is called paying your dues.
Exactly. This is just a guy hammering a nail into his penis. I mean, that's also, I love the fact that he called it a trick.
Yeah.
As if there's like any there's like a sort of like any
it's just self-harm,
sleight of hand happening there.
It's like, oh, I see what he did. No, yeah, there's not.
He's just picking up his dick and putting a hammer in it, which is similar to that David Blaine thing that he also calls a trick where he's just slowly created a hole in his hand,
a fissure through his hand, and he just
over
like puts an ice pick through his hand.
Oh, yeah. David Blaine, he's kind of entered this weird space now where he's doing. I mean, I guess he's been doing it for 20 years, but he's like. Yeah, he'll go on Jimmy Fallon and he'll like eat a frog and throw it up. Yeah. And you're like, well, I guess that's magic. But like, I like, make something disappear, or like, I guess he is making it disappear and reappear, but we know where it's coming from.
Yeah.
But you're just eating a frog.
It's not like he handed the frog to someone else in the audience and they ate it and then it came out of his stomach.
Totally. And then it's in your coat pocket. That's on the door. I like when magicians do that.
That's always a good time. I love that. It's like autographed by you. It shows up. Right. He was at my first TV taping.
Really?
For the Road to Roast Battle. We taped it in 2016. I did my set, got off stage, and I'm walking back through like the back of the Village Underground. I just felt a hand on my arm. He's like, hey, that was really great. Really, really funny stuff. And then I looked over and it was David Blaine. He
Oh
was
my God.
very incognito.
Now that's showbiz.
That's showbiz, baby.
Did
and
you-
then he hammered a nail into no.
Then he put a frog in your mouth.
The frog is still in me to this day.
Yeah. It was
It's-
coughed up
it's-
by one of the judges.
It weighs 15 pounds now. It eats a lot of my food.
Yeah. It's slowly killing you.
It's taken over my brain, and I have like a craving for flies.
Yeah. It's like The Last of Us, It's actually completely controlling your nervous system.
I'm eating like freeze-dried flies with chopsticks. I don't know why.
Oh my God.
I'm being controlled by a frog that was given to me by David Blaine.
So speaking of that, part of the show is has there ever been a unexplained or unsolved mystery or crime from the state or town where you're from?
An unsolved one. Yes.
Sorry to spring this on.
No, there definitely was.
It can be just Connecticut.
I found when I was a kid, I was on a golf course, and I was playing with some other kids my age.
Okay.
So there's no adults around here, but we saw what I believed at the time was a human foot, and it looked it was like it had disintegrated a little bit to the point where it was just like bones sticking out of flesh. It was
No flesh?
I think there was some flesh, and it looked like skin, but it was hard to tell
Yeah.
the origin, and it didn't look quite right as a foot. And I was like, we get back in to like the clubhouse or whatever, like, hey, I think there's a foot down there, and I never heard another word about it. I think someone determined like it might have been a bare foot or something, or a bare paw.
But there was no hair on it.
There might have been a little. My memory of it is very vague, but I remember finding what I believe to be a human foot.
Yeah.
And then it was just like, all right.
It could have been like the foot of somebody like Robin Williams, like who like had like a
Yeah.
lot of body hair.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He lost a foot in the shooting of Flubber, and he wore a prosthetic for the rest of his career. That might have been his foot.
You just see the foot, and then over there is like 12 water
he gets-
bottles.
Oh, goodness me. I'm down a foot. Oh, the show must go on.
Oh, my left foot. Oh, another Lewis. Oh.
What if it was Daniel Gay Lewis?
If I said I was an oil man, you will agree.
Yeah. That's kind of the oft-forgotten thing is that Robin Williams often would just do you ever hear like stories about people doing improv with Robin Williams, like him dropping into UCB, and then he would
Yes,
just do
yes.
offensive voices, and everyone would be like, he wasn't really yes-anding anything.
This next character is called Mr. Bojangles.
Yeah,
and
we're
you're
just-
going to have to go along with whatever I suggest.
And just people were like, "Oh, this is like super uncomfortable," and like
That's
it's
awesome.
UCB, and everyone's just frozen. And Robin Williams, this is like late Robin Williams. He wasn't. He really just did his thing, and people
It was like past 1 hour photo. It was
totally.
like, yeah.
Robin Williams had a weird run in early 2000s, and I could be totally off with the timeline. Keep in mind, I had just fractured my skull, but we're talking about 1 hour photo. Insomnia.
You viewed time as a non-linear thing
Yeah.
since then. You just see all of existence at once
I'm like Dr.
in a
Strange.
panorama.
Yeah. I'm doing the meditation thing. My head's flying all around. Yeah.
Opening portals.
Yeah. Yeah, that was a weird concussion. But
Sorry,
no,
early 2000s Robin Williams.
no. Just what was the one you mentioned? A 1 hour photo. Insomnia. Death to Smoochie.
Right.
You ever see Death to Smoochie?
No, I thought it was a comedy.
I think it was a dark comedy.
Okay.
Bree, do you remember Death to Smoochie?
Can we get...
What was the one where like his son like hangs himself?
Great. That's Best Father
That was called
in the
Mrs.
World.
Doubtfire.
Oh no!
Kid is swinging. He's playing with dinosaurs.
He's
It was a deleted scene. That's in the director's cut of Doubtfire, the son hanging himself.
I couldn't see that my son wasn't well because I was too busy putting out the fire on my breast.
Dad, I
That
just
movie
feel like
where
I don't
his-
want to be alive.
The movie where his son takes his own life, I believe that's called World's Greatest Dad.
Yeah. Oh, man, that sounds rough.
And his son, I believe his son, again, I could be totally wrong here. I think his son is played by the boy from Spy Kids, who is now married to Meghan Trainor,
Okay.
the singer.
Boy from Spy Kids.
And I think
That's not one of the Nickelodeon boys. That's not Drake or Josh, right? That's a different
That's
guy.
neither Drake nor Josh. I'm afraid that's
not.
I'm afraid this is the character Junie from Spy Kids, from Spy Kids 1, 2, and 3, 3D.
Okay.
You're not familiar with the Spy Kids. You're
I
like 2 years older than me.
Yeah.
Isn't
it funny
totally
how like
Spy Kids.
Disney formed micro generation gaps with their programming? I was familiar with a lot. Like my sister's 2 years younger than me, so I caught up on like the Xenons of the world.
It means nothing
things
to you.
like that.
Oh, a little bit.
I saw some of that stuff. I saw the Lizzie McGuires. I saw the whole Hilary Duff catalog.
I see, but it wasn't as impactful to you.
I was more Brink.
Right.
Yeah.
You look at the Disney Channel, the vast majority of the Disney Channel original movie catalog, you look at it like someone looked at like the hippies and then like an older person looked at the hippies in the 1960s. You're like, I don't understand these kids.
Yeah. I had the buzz cut. And I was like,
the buzz cut, the short white.
What's so bad about Vietnam? We're fighting for our freedom over there.
Why don't they like? Well, I don't understand what's so special about a smart house. Johnny Tsunami. Why can't he just go to class? Why does he need to? Snowboard.
Of course, he would wear square pants. He's a sponge. That's their shape. Why is the squirrel in a spacesuit?
Yeah, that is a great question.
Yeah.
Why does she survive underwater?
It's not a scuba suit. It's a different thing.
Right, exactly. Where is her oxygen coming
there.
from?
Yeah. Although you know what? My ignorance, they do test the spacesuits underwater. If you've ever seen
do they?
Cape Canaveral. They do a lot of the moonwalk training down there. Apologies to any astronauts who are reviewing this.
And I'm just wondering where the supplemental oxygen is coming from for the squirrel. Where did the squirrel learn to speak?
Yeah.
I guess that. Now we're poking a hole in the whole thing of where did the sponge learn to speak? Why is the crab's daughter a whale? We'll be right back. It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah. Why is the octopus? Yeah, you would think a starfish would be more of like a home or a structure in the SpongeBob universe, but they've anthropomorphized the starfish,
right.
And he's down and he's in his you never see his rectum on the back of which is on the back of every starfish we know. You only see the front of Patrick.
It's also funny that Patrick is wearing shorts and they've decided which two legs are his unmentionables.
Yeah, you could just kind of rotate him any which way.
Yeah. It doesn't make any sense.
In one episode you just see like a mosaic pixelated thing on like under one of his armpits because he put his bathing suit on wrong.
Patrick, you're wearing your shorts on the wrong
Oh, sorry. My junk is out.
I forgot how we got on
It started from Robin Williams and then it veered into Disney Channel.
Could it have been Spy Kids?
Yeah,
Yes.
Spy Kids. The kid from Spy Kids is in
World's
the Robin
Greatest
Williams.
Dad. He
hangs himself.
Daryl Sabara. Wow. Great pull.
That's an incredible pull.
That is a King Arthur level pull. I am full-blown sword in the stone, full-blown moving Thor's hammer. A lot of Avengers reference. I don't think I've ever referenced the Avengers on this podcast, and I've done it like 4 times.
Tinseltown, baby.
You got me. You got Avengers on my smooth brain.
I got you. I got you in Marvel mindset.
Yeah.
But you just pulled one from like the IMDb number 54,000.
Oh yeah, dude, that was great. Daryl Sabara. Anyways, he commits
of the Sabara pizza family. Yeah, Nepo baby in Hollywood.
Yeah, it's the feminized form of Sabara.
Right. It's like when you say brava. It's like you gender your pizza for different people. When I eat a slice, it's a Sabaro.
Right.
Yeah. If Judi Dench eats a slice of pizza, it's a Sabara.
Dame Judi Dench.
We love the Dame. Come on the pod.
Yeah, she's. I believe she like doesn't work anymore. Is she retired?
I think so. She was on like Graham Norton or something. I saw a clip of hers, and she did like she recited some Shakespeare. Just awesome. I'll fan out for something like that.
I thought you were gonna go further. Listen, this is a safe space.
I didn't want to besmirch Graham Norton.
No, you're welcome to go further with what you do to Dame.
Fan out over Judi Dench.
Anyways,
anyone doing a Shakespeare monologue, it gets me every time.
Oh, totally.
Yeah.
Yeah. Except when they brought out Kevin Spacey. Have you seen that video? Kevin Spacey being brought out in London earlier this year. He did like a really long Shakespeare monologue. It was like Kevin Spacey keeps trying to make comebacks in really weird places.
He keeps like making cryptic video content like directed at Prince Andrew or something.
I'll put it in the description, but he's in like a a conservative like think tank House of Lords thing. Like you know how like whenever you watch like an Oxfordy, not necessarily conservative, but like an Oxfordy like speech on YouTube, it's always like a British guy talking in like a church. You know what I'm saying? Like
in
it's
a
like
church.
they're like it's like people are watching from pews.
Oxford Commons, yeah.
We don't really have that. When someone
Yeah.
gives a speech here, it's usually just in a regular theater. But whenever they're giving a speech in
It's
Britain,
always in
it's
like a
pews.
Taco Bell Burger King combo when it's in America. That's
Right.
that's our Oxford and Cambridge. That's our Oxbridge.
Exactly.
It's the merger of those two.
But somebody
institutions.
brings out Kevin Spacey and he recites this like monologue about from Shakespeare, and
and
everybody,
people are like, all is forgiven.
yeah, and he gets a standing ovation, and then he leaves.
They have a slightly higher pervert tolerance than we do, the English, I think.
They do. Well, that's how it goes. It's a longitudinal thing. It goes.
Yeah.
The English are more accepting, and then the French.
The
is
French.
like the final.
Anything goes.
Roman Polanski.
That's base. That's
He's
like-
got asylum.
in the pervert game of tag, France is base. you can't indict me. I'm in France. I'm
Yeah.
with my people.
I'm home. I'm safe. Daryl Sabara. I'm gonna get this out. He commits autoerotic asphyxiation.
So it's an accidental death in the world's best dad.
Oh, I guess it is.
Because out of context, it sounds like you're just saying the actor does that. That's like a thing that actor is into.
I think his son, who's like young, accidentally commits autoerotic asphyxiation, and I think I could be totally wrong. I could be boofing this, but I think that Robin Williams' character. Do you remember this? Did you see the movie?
Yeah, he like.
He pretends it was suicide.
I think he just pulls his pants up before they.
He's too embarrassed about it being autoerotic asphyxiation, where he's like,
His son's a dick. Like actually, his son is a dick
Right.
to him.
I
Right.
see.
He's an asshole to his dad, but then his dad like covers it up, so like. I want to say like the kid's not embarrassed, but the kid's dead, so
Right.
maybe it's more so for Robin.
Totally. It's for his own like shame. He pulls the pants up.
It would have been funnier if it was the other way around, where the kid is a dick to him, and he's like, "Fuck you, Dad! I hate living in this house," like regular teenager stuff. And then he kills him and makes it look like the kid hangs himself like out of depression or whatever.
Right.
And then Robert Williams just puts his pants down and puts some weird porn out and makes it look. Oh, that's what you get.
Oh, my son's a freak. He went out like Bill from Kill Bill.
Oh, Carradine carried himself away.
Oh, carrot in a stick. Oh, yes, he pulled his carrot too much.
This next character is called Leroy.
I always thought it was interesting that David Carradine went out autoerotic asphyxiating, because I like to imagine he did it with some incorporation of the 5-point palm exploding heart technique, but it was on his dick.
And just like lights a cigarette,
How
hangs
do
out for a
I
minute.
look? Can you do a David Carradine?
I can't. I think he's really down here.
That's
like
great.
this.
It's a little. There's a
Bill.
little bit of like he's involving the bottom of his mouth a little bit,
Yeah,
just
he's got-
a little.
He's got Western jaw. you know?
Totally.
He's like, yeah. But was he a kung fu guy? He was in like
Huge
martial
kung
arts.
fu
Mo-
guy.
Yeah, okay.
And his younger brother, you
Liz
ready for
McGuire.
that? One step ahead of me.
Yep. The Carradines. It all comes
the
full
podcast
circle.
is over.
But
Yeah,
wait,
the Carradine dynasty.
5-point palm, killing yourself.
Yeah.
Fuck, what was I thinking? But it is interesting. Robin Williams also
I
went out through a strangulation. I remember when that story first broke, I was like with my whole family and we heard it on like the radio and whatever. And I was in the back of my mind thinking was this autoerotic? Was this gone awry?
Because you probably had World's Greatest Dad in the subconscious.
Yeah, it was probably burned in there.
Yeah, that was a crazy year, man. That was the year. Within a year, I think it was Gandolfini, Philip Seymour Hoffman, and Robin Williams.
Right,
all
and
within all within from like the summer of 13 was Gandolfini, and then like the winter of 14 was
You're right.
What's his name? Philip Seymour Hoffman, and then Robin Williams was summer of 14.
Because
That was a crazy year.
I was lumping Heath Ledger in with them, but he was like 2008, 2009.
Heath Ledger. I was in high school, so yeah, it was 2000.
I think I was a freshman in college.
Yeah,
and
it was crazy.
that was like one of the first viral deaths.
True.
You know, it was just like, bam, everybody knew.
It is interesting. I think maybe it shows our age that I also found out about like a big death on the radio. Like I found out
Yeah.
about Michael Jackson. I remember I was driving and like every station started playing
Yeah.
Michael Jackson. Like every station.
Yeah.
Like the NPR. I don't know about NPR. Like every music station started playing Michael Jackson.
We're going to take a break from this country record. We're going to that was Travis Tritt, but we're going to turn over to the King of Pop.
King of Pop. Okay, cool. Thank you.
The country artists love his dancing.
They do, I mean, he kind of fits into it, and the square dance. There's a little bit of the Thriller dance.
I was at my sister's high school graduation,
Yeah.
and my dad showed me his phone, and it was like Michael Jackson is dead. And that same day, 2 of my buddies from college were getting drafted into the NBA. Jeff Teague and James Johnson were both. It was the same day all 3 of those things were happening. I was like,
and I got a crazy I got a crazy stat for you. That's again, I'm on my Daryl Sabara tip.
please
That is June 25th, 2009.
get the fuck out of here. How
I
did you
think-
have the date?
Bree, do you have the?
Well, I guess Michael Jackson's death date you might know.
Do you have the? Can you Google something for me? Could you Google what day did Michael Jackson die? Because also the day that Farrah Fawcett died.
Right.
If I have that, I believe I should be given like a key to the city or something.
And James Johnson and Jeff Teague both got drafted
Y-
into the NBA.
Yeah, dude, that's crazy that you're. June 25th,
Incredible.
2009.
Rain Man.
That was one of the wildest. It's interesting. I
That's
looked,
the smooth brain operating for you right there,
Totally.
fuckers.
well, did I tell you I submitted for Jeopardy?
Did you?
Yeah.
Recently or?
Well, like 6 months ago.
Yeah.
But you don't hear back. We're supposed to not hear back for a year. Sometimes.
Long waiting list.
And they just don't contact you if you don't get it.
I see.
But I took a practice test and
Yeah.
I did well.
Crushed
Now
it?
I'm not saying I'm smart, but I'm saying that I've spent my life accruing
Yeah.
useless information.
I'm the same way. I'm good. Like if I'm fall short of like a proper smart person, but I know a
Yes.
lot. I'm good at Jeopardy. I'm good at crossword puzzles,
totally.
things like that. But it's like
The fucking spelling
Jeopardy would
bee
be
game.
sick. The
Dude, I
spelling
know.
bee game, yeah,
I think a couple of comedians have gone
Wordle.
to Jeopardy. John Ozalay,
right.
Raj
Savarman.
Savarman went
Yeah.
on, and I don't know who else, but
I know Katie Nolan was just on. She's not a comic, but
she did Celebrity.
yeah, she did Celebrity Jeopardy.
Yeah, I mean, I would like to do it. I take practice tests now and again, and
What's the category where you would be like fresh meat? This is fertile ground for Moniz to run the table.
I would say American history.
Really?
Yeah, I'm probably gonna get most things.
I would have
right on
thought like
American
a
history.
sports or movies type of thing, but yeah, I didn't know
Movies
you were
I
that
could
deep
get.
into
I'm just thinking. Do they do sports on
sometimes on regular Jeopardy.
once in a
And
while?
I'm always like, yeah, and all the nerds are just blanking.
That's what's cool about. I mean, I think I would be able to get. I think I could beat the nerds on sports and movies.
Yes.
but I think I could joust with them on
Yeah.
American history and maybe like dates, because I got dates.
You got dates.
I got dates. I wish I had more dates on the calendar.
Who
but
was
I
the
got-
11th? Folks,
Folks.
who was the 11th president?
The 11th president was Polk.
Damn, kid's
can-
good.
Can we,
The
Bree, do you
kid's
mind
good.
Googling that? I'm so sorry.
You know why I know that James K. Polk was our 11th president? Because of a line from Angry Beavers that I saw.
Oh, so you know.
It's like,
Who was the 11th president of the U.S.? So you know it was Polk.
yeah,
Okay, great.
I was like, which one can I quiz him on? That's not like Abraham.
Yeah, I got a. Okay, so it is Polk. You don't have to Google. I guess if he's got, it is.
That's
All right,
deep.
great. Yeah, that's crazy. So you have a special coming out.
Got a special coming out.
We're getting to that point where we now can organically introduce the plug situation.
Oh, yeah.
What's so special? I was there. I caught the end of the taping.
That's
it was
right.
So funny.
Thank you, man.
So funny. People
Yeah,
are people are gonna go nuts for this. I think.
Which showing were you at? The second one? Or
I was at the second one.
Oh, you were at the
The
chaotic
malfunctioning.
one.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
you. This happened at my album too, but you said at one point like some light went out.
Uh-huh.
It seemed like because I didn't watch the entire because I came late. I didn't
Yeah.
watch the entire thing, but it had seemed like a light had gone out multiple times.
It happened 7 or 8 times throughout the.
and then you finally
set.
went, "We got it" on
yeah.
the first show,
Yeah.
which I
I
thought
was
was
just
very
like,
funny.
all right. I had riffed on it the first 2 times that
Yeah.
it happened, and I was like, all right, enough already.
Yeah, we got, and then they like the light broke, and because when I came in, you were getting off, and Stav was coming on to like kill time.
Right, because we were going to do pickups, and then I guess you hung around for the pickups as well.
Yeah, but no, didn't Stav come on when they were fixing a light? Also?
I think they did, yeah, because turns out that the fix was to turn off the lights and turn them back on.
The classic reset the Wi-Fi.
Reset the
Isn't
router.
It amazing that that's how you fix the Wi-Fi.
Yeah.
99% of the time.
Yeah.
I got briefly. I want to talk about your special, but I will say you just made me think. This happened to me at Spectrum recently,
Uh huh.
where I went to
You were just hanging out.
yeah, I was just hanging out.
You treat it like a Capital One cafe. You just you
looks
pop
like
in you pop into Spectrum from time to time.
Spectrum, they have these very low, very comfortable
What's the
chairs.
megahertz, boys?
Yeah. But the guy went in there, and I was getting a booster, like used to like amplify the Wi-Fi in my apartment. And I go in, and I'm like, "Hey, can you help me like set this up?" Like I was having trouble. I went in because I was having trouble like getting it to work. And the guy who worked there, he's blue shirt, he's Spectrum.
Qualified?
He goes, I don't know. And I
Really?
was like, what? And he was like, could you call customer service? And I was like, no, but aren't you
I'm
him?
here.
Aren't you him? And he was like, no, but why don't you call him? Why don't you call? And I
You
go,
call customer service, he picks up his phone. Spectrum customer service.
I wish. I called, and the guy was very helpful and very knowledgeable. And I was like, do you want me to put you on? He was like, yeah. And he goes, hey, what's up? This is so-and-so. I'm at the, whatever, 3rd Street Spectrum. And
He's just liaising at this point. He's just your go-between.
he's on my phone, and he's talking to a guy, and he's like, yeah, I'm just not seeing in the system how to do it. And I'm like, did I just, like, help you learn?
Am I training you?
It's a real ripe moment for me to do my Karening. But
Oh, yeah.
I held back, I'm no Karen.
Man of the people.
Yeah. I feel like one day you're going to see me in a viral video Karening in the Spectrum or Capital One Cafe. Stop filming me!
Oh, you're filming me?
Yeah.
You feel big?
Yeah.
Just fully spazzing.
Yeah. So tell me about the special.
Yeah, I was fortunate that I didn't Karen out in the middle of that one. I honestly, we got it on the first one.
Yeah.
Weird shit happened in the second one, and I honestly wasn't feeling angry at all. It was
You seemed very zen.
Yeah, I was. A bunch of people came up to me afterwards, like I would have flipped out, but I was just like, "Oh, this is just opportunity for free riffs, and it's silly. So why wouldn't this happen?"
And did some of that stuff make it in?
Yeah, I think
Great.
some of that stuff will make it into the final cut.
So when's that coming out?
It's going to be first week of June.
Great.
I think the day we have is now. I don't know when this comes out, but look for it June 4th. It's going to be
June
on
4th.
YouTube. We're nailing down where it's going to be. It's either going to be on my YouTube channel or my blessed friend Stavros Halkias' channel. He co-produced it.
We love Stav.
Stavy Baby Enterprises. This is the first special that they're co-producing.
Oh, sick.
So
Ground floor, baby.
Yeah, man, ownership.
That rocks.
Yeah, it's gonna be pretty tight. And my YouTube channel is JP McDade Comedy.
Yes.
McDade Baby on Instagram.
Boom.
We're plugging.
Yeah, plug away. I mean, honestly, are you doing shows this week at Netflix? I don't think this is going to come out in time, but you're doing my show.
I'm doing your show, Luke Mones and Friends.
Luke Mones and Friends. Thank you very much.
At the Kia Forum. And
might be nice.
Tickets are moving.
Tickets are moving.
I'm doing the Netflix is a Joke roast battle tournament.
Do you know who you're going up against?
My first round opponent is this guy named Patrick DePari out of Austin, and then from there, it's like a 16 comic bracket.
And do you have to write the jokes that night?
I'm preparing for like the people in my immediate section of the bracket, and then beyond that, it'll just be like night before you're gonna have to cram.
And how many nights is it?
3.
And are you
4
who's
rounds.
judging it? You know, Jesselnick, Jeff Ross, people like
There's
that.
There's gonna be some big judges. Pat Barker, I think, is the commissioner of the Roast Battle League. I think he's gonna be sitting in on all those.
Maybe
but
you'll
then
get
it's like
some
big names.
Big Netflix people to come in. You get the Oakjaw, perhaps.
I set aside some tickets for Oakjaw.
Oakjaw has a comp at the door and
one seat saved for Oakjaw. It's like, guys, I don't think this is gonna do it.
Giant hippo monster.
Yeah,
the old guy from Squid Game is going to be there.
A couple of the tigers from Tiger King are going to be
totally.
judging.
Old guy from Squid Game went to prison.
Is that right?
I believe so. I think for sexual harassment, which I believe is
Illegal?
illegal.
You can't do that.
But he went he went to prison in South Korea. So
God damn.
when he gets out, he'll be at the roast battle.
Yeah,
and,
I know.
well, you know what it's like? I'm
transgressions out
imagining the Squid Game guy. You know how when someone's in prison and they get released with like 2 federal marshals for someone's funeral? It's the Squid Game guy, but
it's Johnny Sack in The Sopranos who's got like an FBI. Jeffrey Joseph, who plays the FBI.
Yes.